You have seen rain before. You have stood under a dark sky as clouds gather, as the air grows heavy, as the first drop falls and leaves a mark on the ground. You know the smell of it. You know the sound. Now imagine rain that does not fall as water. Imagine standing on a world where the clouds above you are thick, orange, and endless, where the sunlight never fully breaks through, where the air is so dense it presses against your body like a quiet weight. You look up, and it begins to rain. But what falls from the sky is not water. It is methane. This is not science fiction. This is a real place. A moon orbiting the giant planet Saturn, nearly 1.5 billion kilometers from the sun. Its name is Titan. At first glance, Titan looks like just another moon, a distant, frozen satellite lost among dozens of others. But the moment you look closer, everything changes. Because Titan is not just a moon, it behaves like a planet. It has rivers, lakes, seas, weather, seasons, a full atmospheric system that moves, breathes, and evolves. It is the only moon in the entire solar system with a thick atmosphere. And not just any atmosphere, one that is even denser than Earth's. Stand on its surface, and the sky above you would feel heavier than anything you have ever known. And yet, it is silent. No birds, no wind in trees, no oceans crashing, just a slow chemical cycle playing out over millions of years. Methane evaporates, forms clouds, falls as rain, carves rivers, fills lakes, and begins again. It is a world that should not exist this way, not so far from the sun, not in such cold darkness, and yet it does. And the first time humanity truly saw Titan was through the eyes of the Cassini-Huygens mission. Before that, Titan was hidden behind a thick haze, like a secret the universe refused to share. Then, in 2005, a small probe called Huygens descended through that orange sky. For the first time, we saw the surface. And what it revealed was something deeply unsettling, because it looked familiar. River channels, shorelines, rounded stones shaped by flowing liquid. It looked like Earth, but stripped of life, color, and warmth. A reflection of our world, altered in ways that feel almost wrong. A cold twin. Temperatures here drop to around -179 degrees Celsius. Cold enough that water is as hard as rock. Ice forms mountains. The ground beneath you is frozen solid. Not soil, not sand, but water ice behaving like stone. And yet, despite that crushing cold, Titan is alive with motion. Liquids flow, clouds drift, rain falls. It is a world caught between two identities, too active to be just a moon, too alien to be anything we recognize. And the more we look at it, the more one question begins to take shape. If a moon can become this, what else is possible? Start where you are. Imagine standing on Earth, looking up at the moon. It hangs there, quiet and pale, about 384,000 kilometers away. You could fit every human story ever told into that distance. It feels close. Now move outward, past Earth, past Mars, beyond the asteroid belt. You drift into the outer solar system, where sunlight weakens and the warmth of the sun fades into a distant glow. Here, orbiting in a vast system of rings and storms, is Saturn. And around Saturn, dozens of moons. But one of them stands apart, Titan. It is enormous for a moon, larger than the planet Mercury. If you place Titan where our moon is, it would appear even bigger in the sky. You would not mistake it for anything small. But size alone is not what makes Titan strange. It is what surrounds it. Titan's atmosphere extends hundreds of kilometers above its surface. Thick, opaque, rich in nitrogen, just like Earth's. but mixed with methane and complex hydrocarbons that give it that deep orange haze. Visibility on the surface would be like standing in a permanent fog. The sun would appear as a dim, blurred glow. No blue sky, no sharp shadows, just a constant twilight. And yet, within this dim world, there is weather. Real weather. On Earth, water evaporates, forms clouds, and returns as rain. On Titan, the same cycle exists, but with methane. Lakes and seas of liquid methane and ethane stretch across its surface, especially near the poles. Some of these seas are massive. Kraken Mare, the largest, is bigger than the Caspian Sea on Earth. Think about that. A sea larger than entire countries, made not of water, but of liquid natural gas. Cold, still, alien. And the rivers that feed these seas are not imagined. They have been mapped. Long, winding channels cutting through the icy landscape, shaped by flowing liquid over time. This is not a frozen, dead rock. This is an active world. Here is where it begins to feel heavy, because Titan is nearly 10 times farther from the sun than Earth. Sunlight there is about 100 times weaker. And yet, despite that lack of energy, it maintains a complex, dynamic system. It should be still. It is not. Now consider this. On Earth, the air pressure at sea level is something you barely notice. It is simply there, pressing gently on your skin. On Titan, the surface pressure is about 1.5 times higher. You would feel it. Every breath, if you could breathe, would be thick, slow, heavy, but you could stand there without a spacesuit for pressure. The air would hold you. That is rare. A moon with a surface you could stand on, a sky that presses back. Then there is gravity. Titan's gravity is only about 1/7 of Earth's. If you tried to walk, you would feel lighter. You could jump higher, much higher. Movements would feel slow, almost dreamlike. Combine that with the dense atmosphere, and something extraordinary happens. You could fly, not with engines, not with technology, with wings. Human-powered flight would be possible on Titan. Strap on a pair of wings, push off the ground, and the air would carry you. A world where the sky itself invites you to leave the surface. And yet, no one is there. No life as we know it. No voices. No movement except the slow, chemical rhythm of its environment. Now comes the deeper cut. The molecules in Titan's atmosphere are not simple. Sunlight, weak as it is, interacts with methane and nitrogen, breaking them apart and allowing them to recombine into more complex organic molecules. Hydrocarbons, chains of carbon and hydrogen, some of the basic building blocks of life. They fall from the sky like snow, covering the surface in a thin layer of organic material. This is not life, but it is close to the chemistry that leads to it. A world performing the early steps of something larger, alone, far from warmth. And then, beneath the surface, there may be something even more unsettling. Evidence suggests that Titan could have a subsurface ocean, not of methane, but of liquid water mixed with ammonia, hidden beneath a thick crust of ice warmed by internal heat. An ocean beneath a frozen shell. It sounds familiar, like places in our own world where life thrives in darkness, far from sunlight, sustained only by chemistry and heat. Now imagine that, an ocean, sealed away, hidden for billions of years. What could exist there? We do not know. That is the truth, and that is the part that lingers, because Titan is not just showing us what is, it is hinting at what could be. A world where the line between planet and moon begins to blur, where Earth-like processes exist in forms we barely understand, and if something so complex can exist here, in the cold, distant shadow of Saturn, then how many other worlds are out there, waiting in the dark, doing the same? Step back. Leave Titan behind for a moment. Let it fade into the distance, a small orange dot circling a ringed giant in the outer reaches of the solar system. Now keep going. Past Saturn, past the orbit of Neptune, out into the vast, empty expanse where the sun becomes just another bright star among billions. From here, Titan disappears. Earth disappears too. All the places you know, every city, every ocean, every voice that has ever spoken or will ever speak, compressed into something too small to see. And yet, those places feel like everything. Your world feels complete, familiar, full. But Titan reminds us of something quiet and unsettling. That Earth-like does not mean Earth. That the processes we think are unique, rain, rivers, weather, atmosphere, are not ours alone. They are patterns, repeated in different forms, under different conditions, across a universe that does not center itself around us. You are not standing at the center of something special. You are standing inside a pattern, and Titan is one variation of it, a cold one, a silent one, but real. There is something deeply human about looking at Titan's images, the river channels, the shorelines, the haze. You recognize them instantly, even though they are not meant for you. It feels like seeing a memory that does not belong to you. Familiar, but wrong. And that feeling matters, because it forces a question. If the universe can create something that looks so much like home, in a place so far from warmth and life, then what defines home at all? Is it temperature? Is it chemistry? Or is it something else entirely? We tend to think of life as fragile, as something that requires perfect conditions, a narrow range of temperature, pressure, chemistry. But Titan challenges that idea, not by showing life, but by showing how much of life's foundation can exist without it. It builds the stage, it sets the conditions, and then it waits, silently, for billions of years. No urgency, no intention, just possibility. And maybe that is the most difficult part to accept, that the universe does not rush, it does not aim, it simply allows. Somewhere, in places we have not yet seen, those same chemical steps may have continued, molecules forming, breaking, reforming, until one day they crossed a threshold we do not yet fully understand, and something began. On Titan, that threshold may never be reached, or it might already have been, hidden beneath ice, beyond our reach. We do not know. That uncertainty is not a flaw, it is the point. Because every image we have of Titan, every blurred horizon, every dark lake, every winding channel, is a reminder that reality is larger than our expectations, that the universe is not limited by what feels normal to us, and that somewhere, far beyond what we can currently explore, there may be countless other worlds, each with their own version of familiar, each with their own silent processes unfolding in the dark. You return now, back to Earth, back to rain that falls as water, to skies that are blue, to air that feels light and easy in your lungs, to a world filled with sound and life and motion. It feels different now, not smaller, but less alone. Because somewhere, far out near Saturn, a moon continues to breathe in its own slow chemical way. Clouds gather, rain falls, rivers carve their paths across a frozen landscape. No one watches, no one hears it, it simply happens. And in that quiet repetition, in that distant and silent world, the universe is doing what it has always done, creating, waiting, becoming, without needing to be seen.